Let's talk about relationships, more specifically human relationships, because relationship covers a wide range of bonds that exist between each one of us and the whole creation. So the word relationship covers a very wide range of existence. But when we speak about human relationships, we are basically zeroing in on the bonds that exist or can exist, can be discovered and strengthened or weakened between human beings. Like any two elements, the relationship has two elements: quality and the degree of strength or weakness. Let's take a whole hierarchical arrangement in a human being. By hierarchy, I mean that we exist on several levels, and relationships also can be forged on several levels. Beautiful, perfect relationship would be where all the levels are involved in togetherness and in the bonding. A weak relationship would be where only one or another element is involved. So let us see what are the levels at which we exist. Then we can see what are the levels at which relationships can be formed. The most elementary level at which we exist, and we are well aware of it, or perhaps not so aware, is the body. Physically, we exist physically, and relationships can be formed simply because of the fact that two people or more people, they are physically together. For example, in the family of birth, for example, in the circumstances in which we live in a particular city, with neighborhood, and so on and so forth. Yet physical relationships endure, and they endure simply because nothing endures more than matter. It is something concrete, it is tangible, it is physical to our senses, and therefore physical relationships have this tendency to be tenaciously lasting. But as the famous saying goes, man does not live by bread alone, and we are not just the body and the flesh. So there is another level at which we live, at the level of the senses, the input from the senses. And it has such a strong impact, it influences our relationship in such a way that the language we speak, the sounds we hear, the voices through which we have grown up, the colors through which we are exposed, all this has conditioned us. And quite naturally, instinctively, we look for those who share these sensory experiences and can enjoy similar sensory experiences. And yet these bondings are not enough, because we don't exist only at the bodily and the sensory level. We can come together and relate with people through common desires and interests, as people in a workplace, as people in a profession, as people in a business, as business partners, and so on and so forth. Such relationships can be symbiotic, where each benefits from the other, and so on and so forth. It is a give and take, and these relationships last as long as the give and take lasts. They cease abruptly, suddenly, when one person feels that I am no more receiving what I intended to receive, or when one believes that I am giving lot more and receiving very little. And since a lot of relationships are based on this kind of a vital exchange, interchange, and give and take, therefore they tend to fizzle out sooner or later. Then there are relationships which are again based on senses, but they are of a different nature. They are based on attractions, particularly physical attractions. And these relationships may be just like when senses get excited at something, they can be very intense but very short-lived, because senses very soon tire out, or through repeated sensations, they begin to get bored, they begin to look for other novel sensations. And relationships which are based purely on attractions generally don't go a long way unless there comes in it as a saving grace the evolutionary process through which all human beings go through. Yes, we evolve several times in one lifetime. We may not know it because this evolution takes place very, very slowly, imperceptibly, and that's why what an adolescent does and the way he looks at it is very different from the way he looks at the same thing when he grows into an adult, and still later when he goes past middle age into what is known as the ripe old age. So relationships, like everything else, must evolve. But for a relationship to really be enjoyable, the two must grow together. If two people who are evolving and growing in different directions are forced to live together, compelled to live together under the same roof, then there is often a lot of quarrel, a lot of misunderstanding, confusion, pain, and needless suffering. So if people want to grow in different directions, it's better that they move in different directions. Because as they say, to step in two boats is never a good thing. So those who want to be together, they should be in the same boat, moving to the same goal.